because for me, I'm thinking, we're saying that this is the 2020 man, but who's actually modelling this? Because when I think about it, we're all figuring this out.
Yes.
Right now. We're figuring this out. Right? So we're saying this is the 2020 man, but who is that modelled after? We need the next generation look at to say, okay, I need to be like that. Right. That's the healthy way of doing things.
Yes.
So when you had asked about, I believe you asked about process, right? For me this year, it's been about being intentional. I've had to get mentors, I've had to speak to my boys, I had to speak more to my wife about what I'm actually feeling. And you get those awkward conversations with your mentors or your pastors where there's just like silence because you don't know how to articulate yourself, but forcing yourself to go through it over and over and over because you know that if you do not speak, if you don't express, you'll break. And well,
you're broke.
Break
more. break it from break.
Sometimes you're broken and you got the plasters everywhere.
Cut it up yourself.
It's hanging. And for me, the biggest thing has been to be able to be in that place of brokenness with my wife. Because from what I believe I'm supposed to be the leader. But then I have to show her when I'm weak. I have to communicate that. And I've now had to be able to balance the dichotomy of I need to let her know how I'm feeling and if I'm weak and if I'm broken and if I need her, but then I still need to be able to say, babe, we're going this way. And you need to trust me. And for me, it doesn't yet make sense.
I won't lie to you, I'm 7 years in and I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, how do I tell you I'm feeling like this, but then you're still meant to trust my judgment? Like,
that's it.
That's
just the way. It's still hard to balance. Like even something happened really recently. Sorry to be cryptic. And me and my wife went through it. And she was in pieces. I was in pieces. We can't both be broken in the house. You know what I mean? One of us has to do something. One of us has to be there. Therefore, I have to be there. And she said, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I'm in pieces." And she's like, "Express that." I can't. And it sounds really bad, but like I can't express it until I know that you're okay. For me to express it, then I will break down. Then I'll be pieces, and then you can pick me up. But yeah, for me, it's just about being able to process it, just to be comfortable enough within myself to say, do you know what? I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be transparent, and whoever looks at me whatever way, if I'm moist or if I'm whatever, it doesn't matter because my definition of manhood isn't on how people view me, how they hail me up, how tough they think I am, but it's on my intrinsic value. So that for me is what I'm dealing with at the moment, what I'm working through.
That has to be taught, man. That has to be taught.
This actually links perfectly to a quote that I got. I watched a video yesterday by Warren and Erica Campbell. And Warren actually said, and I quote, talking about men, we're not allowed to be emotional. A man needs a safe place to fall apart. I have to fall apart sometimes, but I can't do it in front of the world. Especially as a black man, I can't show them weakness. But when I come home, I need to be able to fall apart, and she helped me put myself back together. What do you do when, you know, think of yourself maybe a few years back when it was just hard to express yourself and it was just hard to use the community that God has placed around you and break in front of somebody and trust that aside from God, or God will use them to put you back together. How do you get there and not suffer in silence anymore?
I think for me, sorry.
No, go on.
I had to realise, listen, like when I was going through like cycles of addictions, and I would like try to battle it on my own, and I'd stop maybe for a little bit and I'll go back to it, but I had to realise you can't do this on your own. Like I physically, if I continue trying to do this on my own, I'm gonna be like, do you get what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be the same person. So I think that person has to realise like, listen, you can't do it on your own. And real strength is being able to go to someone like, listen, I'm broken, man. I'm hurting. That's real strength. It's easy just to stay in your comfort, just to be with yourself and just to do what you do. Even now, like, even though I've got a community of people around me, I still struggle. Like what Philly said, I could sit in your face and be like, how you feeling? And I'll be like, do you get what I'm saying? But then I have to just conjure up that strength. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not easy. But it's necessary. Do you get what I'm saying? And anything that's necessary it's worth whatever it is to go through. And I think environments like this as well, because there's something about this, like these open spaces, you just want to be open. You don't know why, like you just want to be open. Do you get what I'm saying? So these spaces, it creates the atmosphere for people just to be able to be free up and to be able just to be healed. So know that you can't do it on your own. Like you need help. Do you get what I'm saying? You need the help, not you want the help. It's not even a want thing, it's a need, it's a necessity. You need the help, and creating more spaces like this. Yeah. And it takes true strength. So
I'll put it like this. I had to, you know, the scripture that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he, right? That means my internal reality has much more of an impact on my external reality. Do you get what I'm saying? So if I don't take care of myself within, my whole world, and I notice it when I'm down, when I'm low, when I'm angry, and I don't, or when I'm offended and I don't articulate it, and I just suppress that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, man don't feel anything, you know, this, then the other. Grow up, be a man up, whatever. And then something outside that should be so small and insignificant happens, it triggers that thing, and what could have been small to deal with, right, now erupts into something that is so huge, because I'm drawing all the emotion from this past experiences and putting it on this one thing. And unfortunately, a few cases, that person has been my wife. That's the honest truth, because you've just boom, and you've not dealt with it. So what you have to do if you're in that place is think, how is the way I'm thinking right now, the things I'm going through right now, the things I'm not admitting that I'm weak in right now, how is that going to impact my wife? How is that going to impact my children, right? Because whatever, as men, whatever decisions that we are making right now is not just on us. That is going to have a result and a consequence upon our wives, upon our children, and that will have an impact on their children. Sorry to go forward, but think about the way you were when your dad wasn't happy at home and how that impacted you, right? Now think, look at me right now, right? If I am not taking charge of my mental space, if I'm not acknowledging my weakness, what impact is that going to have on my children? If I don't know how to deal with this, and my child comes to me and asks me, I'm going through this, how will I be proud of telling them how I dealt with it? Do you understand? Will I be proud, that I'm having issues with when my children get married. I'm having issues with my wife. How did you deal with this with mom? Will I be proud of my response? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that for me motivated me to go, mate, I need help, because I don't want to be that person that, obviously we're not going to know everything, but I don't want to be that person that doesn't have. Another thing that actually motivated me while I was courting with my wife was, okay, when couples come to us and go, oh, we want to keep ourselves pure, right? When it comes to marriage, if we don't keep ourselves pure, what authority am I going to be able to? What example am I going to place as the benefits of keeping yourself pure? So it's knowing that your decisions right now has an impact not just on you, on everybody that you're linked to, and so equipping yourselves helps you to be a better resource. Do you understand? And it helps you better humanity. It sounds big, but that's the honest truth.
Can I come in that?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I'm laughing because genuinely I used to think that way. It just created anxiety for me, to be honest. It created anxiety, and I think you ask what people or young people, whoever, every time I always think about young people because the next generation, innit? But what they can do, I think first thing, because as I said, I used to think that way. First thing that I had to accept is that it's okay not to be okay, and settle with that. It's okay not to be okay. Acknowledge the feelings that I'm going through, because sometimes as men, you know that you're going through something, but you don't really acknowledge it. It's just there. It's just festering. But the moment I had to decide it's okay not to be okay, then I sought people that through my lifespan have shown me character, have shown me having that small kind of safe space, then I would be bold enough to develop conversations with them. And then through that, they would help me within the process. Because like I said, for a large amount of my youth, I did things myself through default mode. And just going back to the point of just saying it's okay not to be okay, then finding that kind of safe space for someone to speak to. It could be one person. This is one thing I want people to know if you're watching this. It doesn't have to be 4 or 5. It could be that one person. You guys are fortunate to have wives and you have that. I'm not married yet. I can't be offloaded to my son. You see what I'm saying? So if you can get that one person where you can just talk about things and they're not, because there are people out there that are not going to judge you. I just want to repeat that. There are people out there that are not going to judge you. They're going to take you as who you are. And then when you have that kind of hub, that individual will be able to see what you can't see. Because obviously you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with in your own lens, in your own world. But having someone who you trust to come into it, to help you navigate through that, is just a beautiful thing. Because they'll be like, okay, Stephen, okay, you tried this. Have you thought about doing it this way? And if it doesn't work, we can do this. And it's just building that community, because if it wasn't for Dana, we wouldn't have this, you feel me? But I believe we can empower each other. And I think it starts from there. Then it gets to the whole, it impacts this person, it impacts this, and it impacts.
The reason why I said what I was saying, I'm not saying that should be, I'm saying that should be your motivation to want to get better. I'm not saying that's where you start from.
Right.
What motivated me was, look, I want the next generation to look at my generation and go, we've got a strong foundation to build from. One thing, my parents always said, you are the foundation of a new generation. Do you understand? So that was a motivating factor for me. Like, if I see someone is doing something great, I believe in reading people's stories. So even if I don't know the person, I'll go and find out, how did that person get there? So I watched a lot of interviews, a lot of conversations. That was my motivation. So I'm not saying that should be the end result. Is you having a goal ahead of you, and then, okay, if I want the next generation to be better, what do I need?
Have to be better.
You understand? That scripture that says a godly man leaves a good inheritance for his children. An inheritance doesn't just happen. You have to invest. You have to work. You have to work on your mental space. You have to work on finances. Do you get what I'm saying? And you need to be better at that, so that you can not just live a financial reward for your children, but you can live a culture. Do you understand? Why did God trust Abraham? God trusted Abraham because it was said that he would teach his children my ways. What ways are you going to teach your children? Do you understand? So for you to have something to teach, you have to go and learn. Find the people you can be accountable to. And it's not just spiritual things, guys. Like, for the guys out there, it's not just, some people are spiritually together, but financially we are broken because we've never seen how to deal with money well. So go and find mentors in that space. Some of us we are great with guys, but when it comes to treating a woman with honor and respect, we don't know. So go and find somebody that can equip you with what you need to know. Do you understand? And we need to also be able to say, look, I need help. So that's where I'm going.
I think the onus is on us to be aggressive with starting this revolution as well. I mean, you look at different communities that exist today, they're very aggressive with implementing their ideas, and to a certain extent, they're getting a bit of success from it.
Yes.
I'm always speaking to my younger brother, he's 10 years younger than me, and I say to him, look, I'm your cheat code. Do you know what I mean? Because I've gone through certain things that you're probably just getting to now, or you're eventually going to start going through it, just in terms of his emotional development, like with the whole thing with my dad and whatnot. And it's like, one thing I've noticed in our community as black people is, it took me a long time to realize that a lack of resources is not just when it comes to like material items, like money. A lack of resources, just not having a dad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest. That's probably top 3, just in terms of like.
Facts.
One of the biggest resources that you could, like, if you take that out of a child's life, so already for us as just coming from that community, it's already an uphill battle. Not to talk of your dad also being taken out of the fold. And I'm always saying this to my younger brother, because he's an introvert. He just doesn't really, you know, he likes to process things internally, and I'm the extrovert. So I say how I feel. And
You're an extrovert?
and I say to him, I'm like, look, you know, let me be the fall guy, because we have to have a strategy. There's a saying that goes, the first one over the hill is the one that receives all the arrows. So just when it comes to war, you send someone ahead. They take all the hits and whatnot, but then they come back with, all right, this and this and this is what's there. Then let's plot and strategize on how we're actually going to overcome this. Like, I can get influenced on how to buy clothes and, you know, just influences every single where. And I actually did something recently. I was like, so why aren't there no influencers for family and for homes and just probably the most pillar in society? Like, why does it seem like there's such a, like, it's so scarce, you know, in today's world? And that's something that me personally, like, I'm just going forward in 2020, I want to dedicate my life to addressing that issue. More so just in terms of our community. I'm not saying that other, you know, communities don't struggle with this, but like, it's so blatant in our community. And it's like, no, we actually have to get aggressive with this, you know, I mean, Jesus was our fall guy. You know, the blood of Jesus is our cheat code. Do you get what I mean? And we kind of have to implement that same strategy. Like, all right, generation that's coming after. We've gone ahead, we've seen certain things, we've taken certain hits, so you don't have to. Now, you know, here's how we can bypass this, bypass that. You know, the same way we ask the questions of, oh, how much time could I have saved if I had my dad in my ear just coaching me on what to do, or etc. We're in that moment in time where we have the tools to kind of, and even if they don't want to hear it, we have to get aggressive with it. Like, no, you're gonna listen to your word today, because like
years from now,
I'm saving you. Maybe not everything in its entirety, but I can, you know, if I can decrease it significantly, I might as well. Like, look, listen to these wise words. Let's team up on this. You know, like someone was saying about your dad not being there, being an idol. It doesn't have to be anymore. Do you get what I mean? Because of, you know, things like this going forward. So yeah.
So it's an encouragement for everybody that you can use the community that God has given you, whether that be brother, sister, mother, father, a present father. I know we've spoken a lot about absent fathers, but there are fathers in the home that some of them are not being utilized. And this generation sometimes can think, I know it all, I'm doing my own thing and all that, but there are people in your life that God has given you. So I want to encourage you to don't let this stop here. You've watched this, and I pray that you've been encouraged, but you can, in your own life, you can go back to your own life, quote unquote, go back to your own life and be transparent and be open and encourage one another to do the same so we can change the narrative. There's a lot of brokenness that is in society, and that narrative can be changed if we all stand up together. If we all take onus, as Sam was saying, if we all take onus together, and it's not just, well, you do it and I'll watch you do it and see if you're successful, then I'll follow behind you. No, we can stand up together, and we can ensure that this whole buzzword of depression and anxiety and mental health and all these things that are floating around can decrease because we can do something about it. And we can be each other's support, and we can be each other's strength. Yes, we have God, but God has even said that two are better than one. Because when one is down, the other picks him up. But if you are alone, you have no one to help you up. And that is what we're trying to combat. You being alone and having no one to pick you up. God bless you, and we'll see you again, hopefully. Should I say season 3? Or maybe not. I mean, I want season 10, so watch out for EDM. Praise God.